The process of making a photograph begins when you see something you want to photograph. That might be a scene or a person or a interesting geometry, something like this, just some place where you see lines or shapes that you think, I want to do something with that. Sometimes it's not a thing, it's light itself that is so striking and pretty that you want to make a photo of it. After you've identified that thing, which is a skill in itself, and it just takes practice, after you've identified it, it's time to start the process of composition. That's deciding how you're going to take this stuff in the real world and fit it into that rectangular frame that your camera imposes on you. Now, beginning photographers are often intimidated by the word composition because it sounds so serious and scholarly or something like that. I think sometimes it's easier, throw out the word composition and instead think of the word organization, because that's all you're doing. You're organizing all the things that are in your scene into that rectangle in a particular way. This scene is organized with these lines leading to me right in the middle of the frame, and they're staying that way even as we move around. So we're going to start with a very simple composition exercise. It's one that's very easy to understand, but it's also probably the most common mistake that beginning photographers make. I've got a simple question for you. What is this a picture of? I'm not trying to be snarky or anything. I mean, really, what's this a picture of? Is it a picture of me? If it's a picture of me, what's all that for? Is it a picture of all that? If it's a picture of all that, what am I here for? What's all this for? Why is there all this space above my head? What's it adding to the image? What's it for? This is one of the easiest mistakes that beginning photographers make, and that is they don't fill the frame. Remember, I said your job is to make the viewer see what you want them to see. In this shot, what do I want you to see? Do you know? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Let's fix this. This is much better. That extra headroom is gone. Anything extra in the frame is gone. It's just what it needs to be. Me in the foreground and a clear understanding of what the background is. That lets the viewer know where I am. It provides a sense of place and atmosphere. It also gives details of the lake. Maybe you did want a picture of the lake. That's fine. You can go take a picture of the lake, but there's still lake here. You can trust your viewer to know what something is, even if they're not seeing the whole thing. We have a tricky job as photographers. We're presented with the entire world, and we have to figure out how to remove anything extra from it and include only the bits that matter in our frame. Painters have it easy. They start with a blank canvas and add only what they need. It's a very different way of thinking as a photographer. So, two things that I want you to take away from this little demo here. First of all, you got to fill the frame with as much of your subject as you can. One way to do that is before you actually press that shutter button, trace your eyes around the edge of the frame. That will force you to pay attention to everything that you're putting in the frame. If you see something extra, get in closer, get in tighter, reframe the shot, make sure there's nothing extra. There's also an exercise I want you to try. Get a camera, could be a phone camera, a regular camera, whatever it is you have access to, and go find some objects, maybe a chair, a coffee table, a refrigerator, something like that, and do this with a series of objects. Take the tightest crop of that object that you can find that still conveys what that object is. I want you to experiment with just how much you can take out of the frame and still have a meaningful frame. Give that a try, then we're going to come back and do another composition exercise.